Greetings, welcome back. So, I know you guys are thinking, when is this guy ever gonna ride? He's got a cycling channel, and when is he ever gonna ride? Well, I will get back there, probably this next weekend. This weekend it's all rainy and wet, and I've been doing a ton of yard work. We had a couple of ice storms about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, and that damaged a lot of trees and things like that. And so at the same time, I thought I would take the opportunity to do some cleanup. So there's this whole section in my yard right here that I wanted to get cleaned up. This is between me and my neighbor's yard. Evidently the previous owner had put a bunch of stuff up here to block the view, and I mean, it's just a dog kennel. I don't mind. It's not really that big of a deal, but the problem with this whole area, it was all overgrown. I mean, all up here was all overgrown. That tree, that stump there, that tree just fell over one day. And I mean, it's a good sized tree. I'm glad it didn't fall on my shop, because it would have crushed my shop, my bikes, would have messed up our propane and all kinds of other damage that it could have done, but it fell that way. And so it didn't mess anything up, which was nice. But because of these ice storms and because of all the stuff that needed to be done, I thought I would clean up all of this, just this section, and got my chainsaw working. I got a chainsaw sharpener, and I have 4 chains for my chainsaw, but I had to take my chainsaw into the shop and get it to work because it wasn't working. And so it looks like I'm having to save up some money for another chainsaw because there are some issues that they couldn't correct. Something unique that's happened on my chainsaw was the spark plug evidently had backed out and loosened up and messed up the threads inside of the cylinder. And they said it really is not worth it to replace it, just get a new chainsaw when this one finally dies. So now about every 3 tanks of gas that I run through it, I take the spark plug wire off and tighten the spark plug back up. I've never seen that happen in any kind of power equipment where the spark plug backs out. But hey, if you have, let me know in the comments below. Maybe that's just something I never knew to look for. In my experience, the spark plug has always been something that's super hard to get out, not something that loosens up on its own. But it's now happening on my chainsaw. So set aside some money for a new one when this finally dies. But this is one of the reasons that I haven't been riding a lot, other than the fact that it's been cold and I hate to ride in the cold. But as you can see, I've gotten some big piles of debris. So we're gonna have a bonfire out here. I tried to light it yesterday, even with I've got a blowtorch attachment for a propane LP tank, and it's just so wet and green it didn't want to light. So I've been doing a lot of that out here in the backyard. And then if you are a fan of my farm channel, you'll know that I had this big tree break off a giant limb during the ice storm. And so I had a lot of cleanup. Now the cool thing about this one is, you notice, well, where's all the wood? Because I didn't clean up this wood. It was all, this big branch was all cut up and laying here. Well, my neighbor needed some wood for her fireplace, so she took all this. It filled up her whole wood bin for about 2 days, and she went through it. It burned all in about 2 days. So I've been looking at this tree. So this was another area. This was one of the first areas I cleaned up. I was looking at this tree, and there are a lot of dead places in it. One of them is right here, this limb. You can see a huge crack right in it. So I try not to go under this branch too much. I was hoping that the second ice storm would put enough ice on this branch and crack it off on its own, but it's so high up there that I can't really get to it, not in a good way. So I may have to take off this trunk here, but then that's gonna be in the way of my house and cars, and I don't know. That's gonna be a big deal. I may actually have to hire someone to do that, to make sure that I don't hit anything. So as I walk around the property, you can see I've got branches that have fallen all over the place. from these ice storms, and I've been out here cutting them up, but I haven't been hauling them off yet because I'm just trying to get everything cut up and make a determination if I want to continue to work on all this stuff, because I mean, this is some of the stuff from real life that I got to do. So down here in this part of my yard, I've got the overflow from the pond that's pretty much constantly running, and there are a couple of springs. My neighbor's pond on the other side of our driveway is fed by a spring, and so it's always running. Plus we get, if it rains, we get all of the runoff from the hills a couple of miles up. It's just a slight hill, but all the water from that runoff comes in and empties into our pond, which then overflows into here. So this is one of the trees that I need to take down because it is shedding branches like crazy and it is dead. It is a sweet gum tree and it's dead, and it's got this double trunk at the bottom and it's shedding branches. As you can see, a lot of them fall off when it gets really windy and bad, and it's just, I mean, I don't walk out here and sit out here like I used to because it's just, I got stuff falling everywhere. Then we've got these vines. I don't know what kind of vines they are, but we've got these vines that attack the trees basically. And this one vine that I just cut off, it was as big as the tree trunk that it was wrapped around. And it's really interesting. You can see how alive it still is with all the sap coming out of it. Look at all that sap that's coming out of it. So I cut those, and of course those were part of the reason that this tree is probably not healthy, because of all the vines going up in there. So I've had to cut all of this. Some of it was laying on the ground, some of it up on the side of the driveway, some of it I had to cut down and bring down here. So eventually I'll be cleaning all this up. But as you can see, I've got lots of trees. I've got 3 acres here, and this is my front yard, and I've got lots of trees, and some of them are starting to die because you can see they're starting to drop these big branches. So we put our park bench down here and we sit down here. Underneath that is bricks, and we've got a little burn pit up front, but it just got to the point where stuff was falling so much that I didn't feel comfortable being out here anymore. And so some of these big trees are going to have to come down at some point as well. Now, one of the big things is there's another dead tree I'll show you over there. But this one here, right by my stream, I've got this tree here that's leaning, and I can go grab that tree and just take chunks out of it because it's dead. It's like paper. And the problem with it is I can't just cut it down because it's leaning on the tree that's next to it. So as it leans on that other tree that's next to it, it doesn't give me a safe way to cut either of those trees, and there's no way to, there's no safe place over there. I can't run, there's no escape route when the tree starts coming down. And I can cut one tree that you can predict, but when another tree is laying on it, there's no way to predict where those trees are going to go or how they're going to fall. So especially with this other tree that is so dead that it's just coming apart. So I may just have to wait for it to come down on its own, and hopefully it won't. I think I have enough trees and stuff, it won't go in my driveway and it won't hit the power line. But yeah, I'm just going to have to let this tree come down because there's no way that I can safely be over there by the stream, by the water, by all those rocks, by all the hill. There's no escape route for me to cut that tree down, so I'm probably not going to do it. But as you can see, I mean, I've just got tons of debris all over my yard. So I've got trees down over there. I had to take out a giant crepe myrtle over there because I think it was this past winter, it froze and it actually cracked right up the middle of some of the main branches, and that killed it. And so I had to cut all that down. It was still standing, but it was really bad looking, so I cut it all down a couple of months ago and finally got out there. Now I'm having to chop up all the wood and gather it all up. And as your kids get older and start going to college and get out of high school and all those kind of fun things, you don't have them to say, hey, I need help. and 2 of my 4 kids have already moved out, so they're not here to help me clean up all this stuff anyway, so it's gonna take me a while. But I will get back on the bike pretty soon, I promise you. We're trying to get a couple of rides together and figure out how it's gonna work. Trying to get some friends together to go on a ride, and it's just, I don't know. I think 2020 has helped make everybody, it's not everybody. I think 2020 helped make everything just a pain. So anyway, I'm not worried about the virus, but other people are, and that kind of tends to wreak havoc with rides and things like that. So as you can see, there's lots of stuff. There's a tree that fell down last year and I haven't been able to get to it. This is another problem here. This tree here, this big tree right here behind me, is dead. And the problem with it is it's losing big branches. So some of these big branches are coming down and falling, and they're coming out of this tree, which you can see up there is dead. And I'm waiting for some of these others. But the problem with a tree like this, at least for me, is when you start cutting on a tree like this and it starts to loosen up, and if it starts to crack and fall, as it cracks, as it falls, some of those branches can actually break off and fall straight down on you while the tree is falling. So other than the fact that it's a little bit big for the chainsaw I have a 20-inch chainsaw, and that tree is probably about 3 foot across, so I need a bigger chainsaw to take that one down anyway. I can take it down. This one I can get to. It's got a lot of clear space. I can, you know, run to either side. I've got escape routes and I've got things like that. It's just that I don't have a chainsaw that's big enough for it, so I may have to rent one. But as you can see, over the winter time, I mean, just lots and lots of debris all around my yard. So I'm gonna have to get to some of that. Our stream, because I am just about a mile from White Oak Swamp, but we've gotten so much rain this year that, as you can see, I've got water sitting in places that I've never had water in the 4 or 5 years we've been here. Water sitting up there, which I think is making these trees unhealthy. They're getting too much water, and that's what's starting to kill the trees. But I do love the stream. I love the stream that we have here that runs out in front of the house. And you would think 3 acres isn't that big. I mean, there's not that many trees to get out there and get taken care of, but when you start cutting them down, and then you have to start cutting them up, and then you have to haul them away or figure out how to stack them up to where they're not, you know, I don't mind that my front yard looks like a forest, you know, a natural forest, but I want it to look kind of cleaned up too. So it's just something I like to do. Maybe it goes back to being in a garden in the very beginning. We were told to take care of the plants. Funny thing is I'm not a very good gardener when it comes to plants for eating. I'm pretty good at cutting them down, but it's hard to grow them sometimes. So I've got some trees in here that are leaning. I've got some trees in here that are dying. I've got trees in here that are falling over right on the edge of our property here. This is my neighbor's property here, and I mean, he's got some stuff that's falling. Some of it falls into my yard and I clean it up. So that's why I haven't been doing a lot of riding like I was previously. I've just been doing too many other things and trying to get my property cleaned up. And at least the good thing is it's getting me outside off of the, you know, computer and other things, so that's nice. Gets me outside and gets me working and doing some stuff. So, but as I'm over a half a century old now, it gets a little bit easier to get tired, and I can't work out here quite as long as I used to. I used to be able to do this kind of stuff for 14 or 15 hours a day, and now I can do it for about, I don't know, 6 or 8 if I'm having a good day. So I'm getting all this stuff cleaned up. So this is where that crepe myrtle was that died. So I'm getting it all chopped up into bite-sized pieces so I can put it in my wheelbarrow and haul it to the burn pile. So as you can see, 3 acres is a lot of land to take care of for one person. But that's why I haven't been riding a lot, but stay tuned. I think winter is letting up a little bit, and we're gonna get maybe some warmer weather here pretty soon. And so that'll be awesome. I'm definitely gonna make sure that I take some time to go ride. Hopefully this coming weekend will be nice enough to go ride and I can get out and do that. We're supposed to have rain until Tuesday or Wednesday. This is a Saturday that I'm filming this. So that's it. Kind of a update of report of why I've not been riding a lot, and some of it is just winter time. I just don't like to ride when it's too cold. And today it was rainy and I had to do all the yard work, and as you can see, I've still got plenty of yard work to do. So still got to take care of the chickens, take care of the quail. You can check those out on my farm channel. I will put the link in the description below, and I'll put a link right up here. Or is it up here? Wherever it goes. It's right up here. So just thank you for watching and subscribing. And if you got any questions or comments, just put them down in the comment section below. I do read all the comments and answer questions. Soon riding season will start again. All right, until next time. Cheers.